Hi, 5th grade. It's Ms. Skioka with your flipped math lesson for today, 3-3. Today's objective is I can estimate products. So we're going to use our skills of estimating by finding numbers with rounding or with compatible numbers to find the product, which is the answer to a multiplication problem. So here's our first problem to practice together. A store needs to earn at least $15,000 per month. If the store is open every day in March and averages $525 per day, will the store make enough money in March? So let's find the important information, which is it needs to earn at least $15,000 per month. It's asking us if it's open every day in March and it gets $525 a day, will it make enough money? So we're going to have to find out if we will get enough money in March to get at least $15,000. Well, there's something in there I need to figure out. It says every day in March. So I have to think about how many days there are in March. I know that March has 31 days in it. So if I multiply the $525 a day times 31 days, will the store make enough money to equal $15,000? So here I have written down that problem. $525 times 31 days. I'm going to use rounding to estimate first. So I'm going to round $525 to the nearest hundreds place. So I round that down to the number 500 that you can see down here. 31 gets rounded to the number 30. So now I'm just going to multiply 500 times 30. So just like I learned yesterday, I'll get rid of those marks, I can multiply the numbers that are not 0, 5 times 3 is 15, and then tack on the 1, 2, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3. So that's going to equal 15,000. Now, I have to get at least 15,000 to make enough money, and I rounded both of these numbers down, which means that this is actually called an underestimate. It's actually going to be a smaller amount than what you would actually get if you multiplied 525 times 31. I can also use compatible numbers to estimate. So I've changed the numbers 24 to the number 25, and I changed 39 to 40. So it's not rounding, but it's finding a compatible number, a number that's close. I'm going to multiply 25 times 4, and remember, just like yesterday, every time I see 25, I think of quarters. So 25 times 4 is 100. Then tack on that 0. Whoops. Yeah, that's right. And then I get 1,000. Okay, so I showed you there's ways that we can round or we can use compatible numbers to estimate. Let's practice. We're going to use rounding or compatible numbers to estimate the answer. 58 times 6. Now I could either round this up to 60 or I could use a compatible number 50. I can round 60, I can leave it as 6, or I could round it up to 10 or change it to the compatible number 10. Okay, there's lots of things I could do. Now if I do it this way, 60 times 6, 6 times 6 is 36, and tack on that 0. Or 50 times 10, 5 times 1 is 5, and tack on those 2 zeros. You see the answers are really different, aren't they? So to get an answer that's going to be the closest to the actual answer, I'm going to want to use numbers that are really close. So which of these two examples are the closest to the actual answer? Well, it's going to be this one, because 60 is a lot closer to 58 than 50 is. Okay, 733 times 21. On these, I'm going to round 733 to the nearest hundreds place and get 700 and multiply it times the number 20. So rounding 21 down to 20. Then I can multiply, like I learned yesterday, 7 times 2 is 14. Count the zeros, 1, 2, 3, and tack them on the end. And the answer is going to be 14,000. Let's try this one. 43 times 27 times 4. So I'm going to find either rounding or find compatible numbers. So I'm going to round this down to 40. I'm going to round that to 30. And the number 4, I can probably leave the same. I might have to change it to 5 to make it easier to multiply. Maybe it'll be okay. Let's try this. 4 times 3 is 12, and then 12 times 4 is 48. Ah, it worked. Then I tack on the zeros. There's 2 of them. It's going to equal about 4,800. That's my estimate. 38 times 69. I'm going to round these numbers up from 38 to 40. And I'm going to round 69 to 70. Then 4 times 7 is 28. Count the zeros and tack them on. 2,800. Now it's your turn. You're going to use either rounding or compatible numbers to find an estimate to the problem. 75 times 28. Solve the problem. Pause the video and solve the problem, and then I'll check back with you and see if you got it close to my answer. Okay, I rounded 75 to 80, 28 to 30, multiplied 8 times 3 to get 24, and then tacked on the 2 zeros, got 2,400. So your answer should be pretty close to that. Number 2, 3 times 118. Okay, I rounded 118 down to 100, and then I multiplied it times 3. I kept the 3 the same because 100 is easy to multiply times any number. So then I got 300 as my answer. Number 3, 513 times 19. Okay, I rounded 513 down to 500, and 19 rounded up to 20. Then I multiplied 5 times 2 and got 10, then tacked on the 3 zeros at the end and got the answer 10,000. Number 4, 64 times 55. Okay, I rounded 64 down to 60 and 55 up to 60, multiplied the 6's together to get 36, and then tacked on the 2 zeros at the end. Got 3,600. Number 5, 18 times 586. I rounded 18 up to 20, and 586 rounds to 600. Then I multiplied 2 times 6 to get 12, and tucked on 3 zeros. Number 6, 26 times 3 times 101. Okay, I've rounded 26 to 25, which is a compatible number, and 3 I left the same, and 101 I changed to 100. And I did that because I know how to multiply 25s pretty easily, especially times 3. Because if I had 3 quarters, that would equal 75 cents. So now I just have 75 times 100. Ooh, did you notice that was the associative property we just used? So now I'm going to multiply 75 times 1, and then tack on those 2 zeros. So my answer is 7,500. Number 7. Darian uses 11 sheets of notebook paper each day at school. If she has 150 sheets left, will that last her for the next 3 weeks? Find your important information, then solve the problem using estimation. Okay, so I'm going to have to multiply 11 pieces of paper every day times 3 weeks. But I can't just multiply 11 times 3 weeks because I have to think about how many days there are in 3 weeks. So 1 week has 7 days, so 7 times 3 would be 21. So 11 times 21 is what I'm really going to multiply. But I can't multiply 11 times 21 in my head. So I'm going to change 11 to 10 and 21, I changed to 20. Now I can multiply those numbers together. So 10 times 20 equals 200. And so she'll need at least 200 sheets. And since I rounded down, this is actually an underestimate of how many that she'll need. So no, she needs more paper. All right, friends, we are finished. Bye.